everyone, welcome back to 30 Days of Autism Acceptance 2020. The prompts were made by Jake on Tumblr, and a link to his Tumblr will be in the description as always. The prompt for today is to talk about special interests. Do you have any? What are they? How long have you had them? What does it feel like to have special interests? What does having special interests mean to you? And talk about past special interests. Full disclosure, I'm not at 100% today. I'm a little tired and the whole quarantine type situation is really getting to me, so even though I'm talking about special interests, not gonna be all that peppy. I am sorry. I am trying. So I currently have a few different special interests, mostly the same as last year. Musicals, Les Mis, Tolkien, fantasy, dragons, languages, and Star Wars, though Star Wars not quite to the same extent it was at last year. It still counts as a special interest though. Dungeons and Dragons, particularly 5th edition, has also joined the list, and mythology and history, though they have never really stopped being general interests, have kind of cycled back into the special interest list. I am sorry, I feel like I'm kind of mumbling a bit. I should not be doing this right now. I should go to bed, but whatever, we're trying. I'm gonna just put my script closer now, but that helps me see. I apologize, guys. So, past special interests, since I have just mentioned that some cycled back onto the list of current ones, include the Titanic, which sort of seems to also be making a comeback, but not enough yet that I would really consider it a current one. Anastasia, Ancient Egypt, Horses, the Warrior series by Aaron Hunter, and animals that were alive during the Mesozoic era. Mesozoic animals are another interest that tends to cycle a lot. It'll be a definite special interest for a period of time, go away for a bit, and then come back. And the reason that I am saying Mesozoic animals is because it's not just dinosaurs. I'm also into pterosaurs, which are not dinosaurs. They lived at the same time, but they do not fall under the classification of dinosaur. And the marine reptiles of that period, such as mosasaurs and plesiosaurs, which, again, not dinosaurs, just same time period, different evolutionary tracks. Everyone gets that confused, and I hate it because it's wrong. My current special interests have mostly been around for a pretty long time. Musicals are a thing that I grew up with. When I was 10, I would drive my sister crazy by trying to be Christine Daae from Phantom of the Opera. She hated every second of it. Les Mis became a special interest back in grade 12 when I was about 17. Languages, I'm not sure when it really became a special interest. It's definitely been a thing since I was in high school, though. I have very distinct memories of looking up ways to self-teach Gaelic and going through my mom's copy of Beowulf in Anglo-Saxon in the very vain hopes of somehow managing to pick up on how that language worked. Didn't really succeed too well. Fantasy has been one all of my life as well. As a kid, I could not stop watching The Last Unicorn and the 1980s My Little Pony movie because horses and fantasy mixed together in one thing, but in those two stories, it was kind of the best thing ever. Aside from Land Before Time, of course, because dinosaurs. Can't forget that. And I still adore The Last Unicorn, and fantasy is very much still a special interest, which has branched off into other slightly more specialized special interests within that category, such as Tolkien, dragons, D&D. Star Wars is a little more recent. I've always loved Star Wars, but it didn't really make special interest status until about 2 years ago, and isn't quite as strong as the others. History and mythology have kind of always been around, but they cycle on and off the list, as I have mentioned. Having special interest is great. I love it. I love how passionate I get about them and the feeling of absolute joy that they bring, even though that's not coming out so much right now. I'm very, very tired. I kind of just want a nap forever right now. Quarantine does not work for me. I am sorry. And when I talk about them, I feel so smart too, because generally I know a lot of things about them. That's especially the case with languages, because most of the people I know only speak English. So when I start explaining how linguistics works, the people that I talk to are almost always immediately impressed. Whereas with the more pop culture things like Lord of the Rings or Star Wars, there's always the risk of my brain blanking out on them, which tends to happen sometimes with the Tolkien, unfortunately. I hate that it happens, but it does. Or I'll have missed something and they'll know it, but I I missed it when I was doing my research, especially Star Wars, since that one isn't quite as strong as the other special interests, and there's all the confusion with what's canon now because Disney changed stuff up. I love the movies and Clone Wars, but the lore and the fanboys are intimidating, so yeah, that's a thing. To me, having special interests means having a definite way to feel better when upset. They usually they energize me. Not working quite as much right now. I'm doing better with this than I thought I would with how I was feeling when I started out, but usually they energize me, usually more than right now, and they make me feel driven. They make me feel like there's something that I'm good at, and they give my life meaning in a way, especially fantasy. When I was a kid and bullied a lot and didn't really have friends, my special interest of fantasy provided an escape. I started developing my own fantasy world, and I would just mentally go there whenever I was upset, and I still have that world now. That's where my novel that I really do need to actually work on at some point is set. My special interests are how I make sense of the world. They provide the lens through which I interpret things. If something confuses me, I start comparing it to things out of Lord of the Rings or Les Mis or another story that I love and know inside out until I make sense of it. In the worst of my meltdowns, I still just try to turn my brain off and go to the safety of my own world that I created. And the feeling of pride that I have when I understand a new grammar point in German is unlike anything else. If I didn't have my special interests, then I would be completely lost. I wouldn't be me. I wouldn't know how to make sense of anything, and the thought of not having them is unbearable. It's not like neurotypicals liking a movie a lot or having a hobby. These interests become a core part of my routine and identity, even if they do sometimes change. Losing all of my special interests and not having any would be like cutting off one of my arms. I would not know how to function. They make me who I am, they provide my best coping mechanisms, and I have every intention of having a career doing something with them. Probably writing in theater at this point. So I don't really know what else I can say on this topic right now, unless I want to go on in detail about all of my interests, in far too much detail. And of course, I'm not fully mentally here right now, so that would just be a rambling disaster, probably. So I'm just going to end this here now. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!